Hey, what's going on, guys? So on the last video I kind of touched bases on how there's multiple different types of sensors on a vehicle. There's inputs and there's outputs. An example of an output is a fuel injector, purge control valve, oil control valve. So if you look here on the diagrams, it's a simple 2-pin circuit. You have a power and a ground control, and then on input you would have it's a 3-wire sensor. An example would be like a camshaft position sensor. So here we're looking at a 22 Hyundai Palisade. This is the intake cam sensor for bank 2. You can see it's a 3-wire circuit. So this is considered an input because there's a signal being sent to the PCM to tell the computer which stroke that cam is specifically, whereas an output type of sensor is just 2 pins. We can look here at the oil control valve. Like I said, it's just a power and a ground. So if you look here at the oil control valve, like I said in the previous videos, the top side is your power side. You can see your fuse. Sensor 2, 10 amp, feeds your oil control valve. And then down here, your PCM, your engine control module, is what's adding the ground to complete the circuit to actuate the component. So let's look at a cam sensor. And how we would diagnose it if the vehicle came in with the camshaft position sensor trouble code. Okay, so we'll look at this one here. Intake would be number 2. So here I'm looking at this cam sensor here. So you have a sensor power that comes from the engine control module, and then the sensor ground also comes from the engine control module. So that takes 2 pins, and then you have a pin that says signal. That signal wire, that signal is produced by the actual sensor, and that's what's considered an input because it gets inputted into the engine control module and supplies information telling the engine control module where exactly that cam position is at. That way it can fire off the coils and injectors accordingly. So let's look at pin 1. Would be a pink wire, and that's our power side. Volts DC, good known ground. I'm gonna back probe. All right, so here you can see we got 5 volts. Most sensors are 5 volt based. That is considered or called your 5 volt reference. So that is your power for the sensor. So next we would go to the signal wire, which is the center wire. And here you can see we have voltage being produced by the sensor. Every time that the camshaft reluctor wheel passes across the cam sensor, it excites the sensor, producing a voltage signal. That is your input going into the PCM, telling the engine control module where exactly that cam is. So you can see how the voltage changes. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a reluctor wheel or the end of a cam. It's a circle, but it has notches in it. Every time the notch goes low, then the magnet does not get excited. And then once the certain part of the cam that has a high point excites the magnet, it produces the signal circuit, the signal voltage. So this is just a quick way to test a 3-wire circuit for a sensor. The proper and best way to do it is using an oscilloscope, which most people don't have. On an oscilloscope, it'll produce a waveform, so you would be able to see any abnormalities in the waveform. But for now, we're just using a meter and checking the voltage on it, and you can see that the cam sensor is functioning properly. Now on a 2-pin circuit, like this oil control valve here, You won't have any, you won't be able to really test it unless you activate the solenoid using a scan tool and see if you have your voltage and ground like I mentioned in the previous videos. But that's just a quick explanation as the difference between an output and an input. Like I said, an example of an output is a fuel injector, solenoid, anything pretty much with a 2-pin circuit. There's an exception to like a knock sensor. That is a piezoelectric sensor, and it produces voltage when there is vibration or noise. It's pretty much a microphone in layman's terms. And then a 3-pin circuit is more than likely has an input back to the PCM. And then there is also some other exceptions. Some sensors have what's called a LIN line, or a local area network line, so it communicates with other sensors via pretty much their own CAN bus. I hope this video makes sense to you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.